Eric here from 5minuteInvesting.com, and today we're going to talk about whether you should invest against the trend. Now, in an earlier video, we talked about what is a trend, we talked about how to invest with the trend, and now we're going to talk about whether you should invest against it. Now, if you're investing with the trend and you're a long-term investor, you're probably going to start here and you're going to capture this profit. Okay? Very straightforward. And when you're investing with the trend, but the short term, hopefully you're capturing this part. Okay? Now, if you're investing against the trend, what you're looking for is either these little parts or a fundamental change in trend, which happens 1 out of 10 times. And you can refer to my other videos on why that is. So the first problem when you're investing against the trend is you assume you're able to short at the highest high. And the reality is, chances are you're a little bit early or a little bit before, and that reduces your profitability. Now, second, when you're trying to exit, the trend might quickly turn against you, and you might not be able to exit at the bottom. So you will be a little bit early and a little bit late again. So in fact, for this retracement, you're only capturing like 20-30% of it. So it doesn't really make sense in terms of profit-wise to invest against the trend versus just waiting. And that leads to a higher transaction cost for you too. Now finally, let's say you missed this dip. And you decide that, I'm just going to wait for the next one. The next dip is a lot higher than the previous dip. So that, again, reduces your profitability. Now, what if you're a little bit ahead or a little bit behind? Then again, that reduces your profitability too. So have you ever thought of being a genius and try to predict the short-term top of the market and invest against the trend when it is obviously a bull market? Then you should probably think twice. So for 8 years, when I first started investing, I invest against the trend and with the trend, and I try to be really smart and try to capture every single wave because I had a lot of time on my hands. I was sitting in front of the computer all day for hours and hours watching the market and trying to capture some profit because I was thinking, if I can just capture, let's say, 5 pips or 10, 20 pips in the Forex market, these are like little increments of profit, so like 1% or 2%, then in a year, I'm going to be a wildly successful and profitable investor. But of course, that is not how it works because transaction costs will eventually kill you. And in reality, you will never be accurate enough to predict the up and down of the markets every single time. So eventually, you will get burned by investing in the trend, by investing against the trend. And when you look at the trend, let's say there are 3 dips here, right? And you try to invest against it. And eventually, on the 1, 2, 3, the 4th one, the market turns around. Okay? In the 4th one, the market turns around. And you invest in every single top because you think the company is overvalued. You're going to be wrong 4 times if you place a stop loss here. And only until the 5th time, whether you invest again, then the market goes in your favor. You lost 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And you need to have a very strong faith that the market is going to crash. B, you need to have a lot of money because you got to keep losing until this one day, whether the market goes in your favor, and you make a lot of money. So that's why the movie Big Short is such an amazing story because this is really rare, and you need to be very accurate. And you can incur loss continuously until the market actually turns.